After 3 combat deployments, Sarah Mitchell never imagined the most dangerous battlefield would be a deserted highway at 7 months pregnant. As she adjusted her maternity shirt over her tactical belt, she spotted the smoking Maserati and its frustrated owner. The Arizona sun beat down mercilessly on the asphalt as Sarah Mitchell eased her pregnant body out of her weathered pickup truck. At 45, with her Marine Corps posture still evident despite her 7-month belly, she approached the stranded luxury car with practiced caution, a habit from 20 years of military service. Michael Weber slammed his palm against the steering wheel of his Maserati. In exactly 14 minutes, he was supposed to present his defense technology company's newest project to the Pentagon's acquisition team. His $5,000 suit wasn't made for roadside emergencies, and his knowledge of engines was embarrassingly non-existent. Need some help? The voice startled him. Michael turned to see a woman with honey blonde hair pulled back in a practical bun, her pregnant belly prominent beneath a simple navy maternity top. Despite her condition, she moved with unmistakable military bearing. "I have a critical meeting," he replied, not hiding his irritation. "My assistant should be sending help, but there's no signal out here." Without waiting for permission, Sarah leaned carefully over the smoking engine, one hand instinctively resting on her belly as she assessed the situation. "Coolant system," she diagnosed confidently. "I can get you back on the road temporarily. Won't last long, but should get you to the city." Michael eyed her skeptically, his gaze lingering on her pregnant form. "Are you sure you should be?" "I'm a mechanic," she interrupted, meeting his gaze without flinching. "And a retired Marine major. I fix vehicles under mortar fire. Your Maserati does intimidate me." Sarah returned to her truck and retrieved a small toolkit, her movements deliberate and efficient despite her pregnancy. Michael watched in disbelief as she began working on his engine with surgical precision, her experienced hands moving with confidence through the complicated machinery. "5 more minutes, and you would have blown the engine completely," she commented, adjusting something Michael couldn't identify. "These models are powerful but surprisingly delicate, like some corporate executives." The subtle jab didn't go unnoticed, but Michael was too concerned about his meeting to respond. Instead, he checked his watch again. "How do you know so much about luxury cars working in?" He stopped abruptly, aware of the prejudice in his unfinished question. "In a forgotten town?" Sarah finished, giving him a direct look over her shoulder. "I specialize in high-performance engines. Excellence isn't exclusive to big cities, Mr. Weber." Michael's eyebrows shot up. "You know who I am? Your company supplies military tech. I'm making my business to know who profits from war." Her tone remained professional, but the undercurrent was unmistakable. Sarah straightened with a slight grimace, one hand moving to support her lower back. Michael instinctively stepped forward to help, but her raised hand stopped him. She closed the hood with practiced efficiency. "That should get you to Phoenix. The radiator needs replacement, but this fix will hold temporarily." "I owe you," Michael said, pulling several $100 bills from his wallet. "Please accept this as thanks." As Sarah extended her hand for money, sunlight caught the silver ring on her right hand, an unusual design with a distinctive emblem embedded in black onyx. Michael froze, his eyes locked on the ring. The world seemed to stop. That ring, he knew it, identical to one he'd once worn, given only to members of a classified special operations team, Operation Nighthawk, a mission buried so deep that even mentioning its name was forbidden. "Where did you get that ring?" he asked, his voice suddenly strained. Sarah instinctively closed her hand, her pregnant form suddenly tense, shifting to a subtle defensive stance that only a trained operative would recognize. "It was awarded to me," she replied cautiously. "Why do you ask?" Michael's mind raced through personnel files he'd memorized years ago. Mitchell, Sarah Mitchell, the combat medic and mechanical specialist, the woman who'd saved his life during a classified mission in Kandahar before disappearing from military records. What Sarah couldn't know was that Michael Weber, now CEO of Weber Defense Technologies, had once been Captain Michael Weber of the Special Activities Division, the man who'd promised to protect their team's revolutionary medical technology from weaponization, a promise apparently broken, judging by Weber Defense's latest projects. "You were Nighthawk's angel," he whispered, using her team call sign. Sarah's face hardened as recognition dawned. She pocketed the money and turned away, walking with determined steps despite her pregnant state. If the car breaks down again, Veterans Automotive is 10 miles ahead, she called over her shoulder. First entrance after the Ridge Creek sign. Sarah, wait, Michael began, but she had already started her truck's engine. Your meeting, Mr. Weber, she reminded him coldly. The Pentagon is waiting. As the Maserati disappeared down the highway, Sarah sat motionless in her truck. He didn't recognize me until he saw the ring, she murmured, stroking the emblem with her thumb. A gesture 20 years in the making. After all this time, he only saw a pregnant woman, not the soldier who saved his life. At Veterans Automotive, Sarah worked methodically on a dismantled engine, channeling her frustration into each precise movement. Her pregnancy made some positions challenging, but she'd adapted her workspace accordingly, just as she'd adapted to battlefield conditions for 2 decades. You're going to destroy that carburetor, observed Frank Collins, approaching cautiously. Tall with salt and pepper hair and a Marine Corps tattoo visible beneath his rolled-up sleeve, he was the only one who knew her complete story. He showed up. Frank, Sarah said without looking up. Michael Weber with a broken-down car, like some cosmic joke. Frank froze. Michael Weber? Captain Weber from Nighthawk. CEO Weber now, Sarah corrected, carefully straightening up and pressing a hand against her lower back. Building weapon from technology meant to save lives. He recognized the ring, but didn't remember the pregnant woman was once his combat medic. That night, Sarah opened a secure laptop in her modest apartment. Military habits die hard. She'd been tracking Weber Defense Technologies for years. On screen, articles detailed the company's meteoric rise, military contracts, and Michael's engagement to Catherine Parker, a Department of Defense senior analyst. Her hand moved to her pregnant belly. Your father would have hated what they've done with our work, she whispered. Her late husband, another Nighthawk team member, had died believing their medical technology would help soldiers, not become weaponized. Tomorrow, he won't even remember the ring, she murmured to her unborn child. Sarah was wrong. The next morning, an unmarked black sedan pulled up outside her shop. Michael emerged, this time without his expensive suit, as if trying to blend in. We're open, Sarah said, keeping her distance, one hand resting protectively on her belly. I came to return this, he replied, holding out his hand. In his palm lay a weathered combat medic patch, edges frayed from years of desert sand. Operation Nighthawk, Kandahar Province, he said softly. You extracted a bullet from my shoulder while under enemy fire, then repaired our transport to escape the ambush. You promised our technology would save lives, not end them, Sarah replied, the words escaping involuntarily. I tried, Michael responded, something dark crossing his face. For years. But my father, he had other plans. Frank emerged from the work area, wiping his hands on a cloth, his eyes assessing Michael with accumulated suspicion. So the captain returns, he commented. 20 years later, Michael held his gaze. I understand your mistrust, but I came to ask for a chance to explain. Frank was our communications specialist, Sarah explained. He's the one who helped me escape when your father's men came for my research. I sure protected you, Michael acknowledged with visible regret. Why now? Sarah challenged. After all this time? Michael took a deep breath. In 2 weeks, I'll announce the deployment of Project Lazarus, a weapon system based on the medical technology your husband developed. I'll complete my transformation into everything I once fought against. He paused significantly. And then I saw you, or rather, I saw the ring and something stirred. Michael's phone rang insistently. On the screen, Catherine's 7th call. She seems persistent, Sarah observed bitterly. My handler, he replied, silencing the phone. Our marriage is a strategic alliance between Weber Defense and the Pentagon. What do you expect from me? Sarah asked, crossing her arms over her pregnant belly. Absolution for abandoning our mission? Help, he said simply, and maybe a chance to correct the biggest mistake of my life. 2 days had passed since their unexpected reunion. Michael had delegated responsibilities, and immerse himself in classified files. Something didn't fit in his father's story about Project Lazarus. At Weber Defense headquarters, he accessed a secured server using his executive privileges and felt his blood run cold. The original medical technology had been stolen, not purchased as his father claimed. Worse still, a file labeled Operation Cleanup contained surveillance photos of Sarah's husband and a redacted accident report. He had David killed. Michael whispered in disbelief, referring to Sarah's late husband. At the same time, in her workshop, Sarah was making her own decision. She pressed a hand to her active baby, feeling a strong kick. "I'm going to confront him," she declared to Frank, revealing a hidden drive containing backup research files. The original Nighthawk medical technology, David's complete work. "It's dangerous," Frank warned. James Weber destroyed David's career once. Imagine what it could do to you now, especially in your condition. Sarah touched her wedding ring, paired with the Nighthawk emblem on her right hand. "My child deserves a world where their father's work saves lives, not takes them." That night, Michael was driving toward Veterans Automotive where he received a message from Sarah. "Memorial Park, 20 minutes. Come alone." The park was deserted when Michael arrived. Sarah waited on a bench, her pregnant silhouette illuminated by a single lamppost. "For 5 years, I wondered why David's helicopter crashed," Sarah began without preamble. "Why the most skilled pilot in our unit suddenly lost control." "Sarah, I discovered something terrible," Michael interrupted, his eyes reflecting genuine horror. "My father sabotaged." "Your father sabotaged the helicopter," she finished, handing him a memory drive. "Then he stole our medical technology and weaponized it." Michael paled as he connected the drive to a secure tablet. The evidence was undeniable. Maintenance logs altered, orders signed by James Weber himself. "How did you get these?" he asked, voice shaking. "David suspected someone was targeting our research. He encrypted everything, left copies with trusted team members." Sarah's military training showed in her calm efficiency, despite the emotion in her eyes. "Tomorrow night, Project Lazarus launches officially," Michael said, his voice finding new determination. "Every major defense contractor, military official, and government representative will be there." "The perfect audience," Sarah agreed, instinctively rubbing her belly as the baby kicked vigorously. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Michael asked, eyeing her pregnant form with concern. "In your condition." Sarah's eyes flashed with the same determination that had once saved his life on the battlefield. "This child is the reason I must do this, for their father's legacy." Michael's phone rang, his father calling for the 5th time that day. He ignored it. "There's more," Sarah continued. "The original medical technology wasn't just stolen. Your father has been testing it without safety protocols." This revelation hit Michael like a thunderbolt. "Where? How?" "Veterans hospitals," Sarah said grimly, "disguised as advanced treatment programs, using wounded soldiers as test subjects." In the auditorium of Weber Defense Technologies, James Weber stood proudly before projection screens showcasing Project Lazarus, a weapon system that could, according to marketing materials, disable enemy combatants without permanent damage. The gathered military officials and executives applauded at the promised capabilities. "And now," James announced, "my son, Michael Weber, CEO of Weber Defense, will demonstrate the humanitarian applications of this revolutionary technology." Michael walked onto the stage, his face composed but eyes resolute. Behind him, to James Weber's visible shock, walked a visibly pregnant Sarah in her full Marine Corps dress uniform, decorated with combat medals. "Project Lazarus is built on stolen technology," Michael stated into the microphone, his voice carrying across the stunned audience. "Technology designed by Major Sarah Mitchell's team to save soldiers, not harm them." James Weber lunged toward the podium, but security, discreetly replaced with Michael's loyal veterans, blocked his path. Sarah stepped forward, her pregnant form straight and proud in her uniform. "As the surviving medical officer of Operation Nighthawk and widow of Major David Mitchell, I present evidence of technology theft, illegal human testing on wounded veterans, and a deliberate sabotage that killed my husband." Military police officers enter from side doors as screens display the incriminating documents. 1 month later, Veterans Automotive had a new sign: Mitchell Weber Medical Technologies. Inside the expanded facility, Sarah supervised the conversion of the repair shop into a research laboratory, while Michael reviewed documents for clinical trials. "Still feels strange?" she asked, one hand supporting her now 8-month belly as she examined equipment specifications. "To discover your father is a war criminal and that you've been unknowingly complicit?" Michael gave a rueful smile. Strange doesn't begin to cover it. Sarah's expression softened slightly. David would have appreciated the irony. A mechanic and a corporate executive saving his legacy. As the afternoon sun streamed to the windows, a group of wounded veterans arrived for the first legitimate trial of the regenerative technology, now returned to its original healing purpose. "We lost years," Michael observed, watching the veterans enter. "But perhaps we can still fulfill the original mission." Sarah nodded, feeling her baby kick vigorously as if in agreement. Nighthawk's code. We leave no one behind. That includes the truth. The Nighthawk ring on her finger caught the light, a symbol of promises broken and, perhaps now, restored. If the story of a pregnant veteran fighting for justice while honoring her husband's legacy resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments below. We respect every experience shared here. Have you witnessed veterans facing similar challenges, or experienced discrimination based on service or pregnancy? Your experiences matter, and every comment helps raise awareness about the unique struggles and incredible strength of pregnant veterans. Subscribe for more powerful stories that honor those who serve both country and family.